Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. We've already been introducing ourselves a little bit, but formally, I'm Alex. I work with the Moet Hennessy portfolio, so I am lucky enough every day to sell Ardbeg to the masses, as well as the other products, of course, but this is so near and dear to my heart. I just love it to death. And this is Ian. He is fairly new to Moet Hennessy, right?
Yeah, this is my first full year with, I started my year with Moet Hennessy. I've been in spirits, specifically whiskey, for a very long time, done a lot of things in the industry, and I get to work just with our really beautiful whiskey portfolio, focusing on Ardbeg today. I'm really excited to be here. Thank you so much.
Love it. And I am a certified somm since 2015, so we can pick out some delicate flavors in these smoky whiskeys together if we try our best, I'm sure. Okay? There you go. I'm so sorry. Valentina, she'll be the one drinking in the corner. So I hope everyone has enjoyed the welcome cocktail. What did everybody think so far? Tasty? Delicious? Yeah, you know, that's kind of why I wanted to do a cocktail with Ardbeg, right? Single malt is not misperceived, but it's perceived usually as something you have neat, maybe a little water, maybe a big cube, a couple cubes if you like, and that's it. This is such a lovely component to any cocktail. If you put this on top of a penicillin as the smoky float, if you put this in a Bloody Mary, it is delicious. I really wish it were Sunday morning because that would have been the route we took. This actually in an espresso martini is also really, really delicious and absolutely wonderful. And the Wee Beastie is quite affordable compared to other single malts, even in the Ardbeg line. So I always think, you know what, cocktail-wise, it shouldn't be overlooked. So welcome to the land of Ardbeg. We have a PowerPoint presentation that we'll kind of be going through a little bit, but mainly I want to just have interaction and talk about why the whiskey is so great and have everybody enjoy side by side, right? So Ardbeg is one of these whiskeys that has an absolute cult following. It's on the Isle of Islay, of course, so you are talking about southwestern Scotland, kind of the end of the world. More sheep than people are on this island. So if you close your eyes, picture that kind of beautiful, picturesque spot. Nothing going on. It's almost a step back in time, which is, in fact, one of the reasons that they use peat to, as part of the process, to heat the grains during the process. So that's why that smokiness is imparted. They haven't had the technological boom of the Highlands, which use steam to heat. So we're back in, again, like the 19th century. These guys have been making liquid for hundreds of years, but since 1816, they've been doing so legally as Ardbeg. As we said, the 10-year absolutely is the flagship of the house. That's what we should be really kind of concentrating and zeroing in on, because that's what you see everywhere. And also, I think it emblemizes what they are trying to do. I talked to everybody like Ian, I talked to the various distillers. I haven't met Bill Lumsden yet, but I'm going to, I'm sure. And without fail, I say, oh, what's your favorite Ardbeg? 10-year. Every day. So again, we'll taste the other marks and see what they're all about, but really it's just a classic, delicious mark. So single malt, of course, again, Islay is characterized by that really deep, beautiful smokiness. And if you can go through to where we are in the world. So here's Europe, of course, Scotland over to the left, top left, west, northwest is what I'm trying to say, of Great Britain. And here we are. Islay is down at the bottom. Ardbeg, there's like a little line of distilleries that go here, Lagavulin, Laphroaig, and Ardbeg is at the very end of the road. So again, you're having this kind of anticipatory journey getting there, and it's just wonderful. Have you visited the distillery?
Not yet.
Not
I've been
yet?
to Scotland before. I've not had the opportunity to get the Ardbeg yet, but I'm very excited. I've been to Islay, friend Laphroaig quite a bit, but not yet Ardbeg. I'm very excited.
Okay. So Ardbeg is a single malt. You have to be made in Scotland, produced from 100% malted barley, one single malt, and aged in Scotland in oak barrels for a minimum of 3 years. So we obviously have that in spades, 5 years being our minimum age statement on these spirits in front of you.
Like champagne or cognac, it's protected.
Exactly right. Yep, defined by the Scottish Governmental Regulatory Board, just like an AOC in France, as you said. Scotland is very, very proud of what they do. So to be called a single malt or to be called a Scotch, you got to follow the rules, right? Let's move forward to the Ardbeg Committee. Ardbeg is one of the only Islay malts that's actually growing in popularity. One of the reasons being, ever since 2000, there's been this thing called the Ardbeg Committee online. And you can actually go to ardbeg.com, click on it, become a member, and you are privy to all sorts of early releases. There's a committee release every year. In fact, you are 6 very lucky people because you're tasting the Smokyverse the first day it's available in market. That's the new one for 2025. But these people are just crazy about Ardbeg to the extent that they have tattoos, some of them. Say it again?
Working on it.
Working on it. I was going to say, we can't find one yet, but he'll be there. That's right, that's right. So again, this is one of those liquids that really, once you try it, once you become part of that world, you want to get a tattoo. It's so good, right? Bill Lumsden, he is the master distiller. So Bill Lumsden's kind of like the Michael Jordan of distilling. He's the 5-time master distiller of the year. And he is the one at Glenmorangie as well as Ardbeg responsible for really diving into how different wood treatments are going to affect the liquid. So Oloroso sherry casks, Pedro Jimenez sherry casks, obviously ex-bourbon, new charred oak, just like a bourbon treatment. He's even done an ex-Chateau Montrose from Santa Steph barreling for Glenmorangie. Really interesting, cool stuff. So, please.
I just want to add to that. To win Master Distiller of the Year 5 times in a row is really impressive because, like a lot of awards that you might submit a product or a piece of art to, once you win the award, once you get, so for instance, the San Francisco Spirits Award, the double gold, once you get double gold, you don't submit again. You rest on that laurel. So Dr. Bill actually submitted himself 5 times and won 5 times because he is that good at his craft. And I think that's a really cool part of that. Most people shy away. Dr. Bill ran straight ahead.
I love that, and I didn't know that. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
So, you know, I last time extolled about the processes of making this whiskey. I think we should start taking a look at the whiskeys themselves. So let's go forward to the Wee Beastie, if you don't mind. Back in the 80s and 90s, they were used more than anything for just blending as a very smoky statement. So there really wasn't the realization that, hey, this is an incredible house. Let's just make this what it should be and introduce these whiskeys to the world. So, as I said, the 10-year has been the flagship for years and years. Bill, obviously, as Ian said, is an amazing master distiller. And everybody said during COVID, hey, why don't you put an age statement on some of your whiskeys? Why don't you put an age statement out there that we can really try and enjoy? Because Ugadal is named after the water source. Anno is named after the Mall of O. He has another one called Corryvrecken. There are all sorts of things, and there's no age statement on any of them except the 10-year. And everybody's thinking, oh, 12-year, 14-year, something great is going to come out. So Dr. Bill, in his Dr. Bill sense, said, I'll give you an age statement, 5 years. Here you go. And he made the Wee Beastie.
5% of barley in a mash bill of everything else has enough alpha amylase to convert that one mash 3 times to sugar. It produces so much alpha amylase. And the way in which you malt is very specific. I think you might have an idea. How do you malt? What is malting?
The grain is soaked until it germinates, and then it needs to be dried.
Yes, the difference is that you do have to add heat to that process. So what we're doing is we're adding heat to that moist grain, and it's causing the germination. And right before it's about to sprout, before we get a green, we stop it. And then that's the drying process that you're talking about. So that's why we're doing all of that. Now, in Islay, they're using peat, which is a natural fuel source. It's peat bog that is just a mass of vegetative material that's been kind of crushed underneath the swamp. And we're taking that out, we're using that as the fuel source. And that fuel source is producing a smoke. And that smoke is latching itself to the exterior of the grain. And that is how we're going to get every inch of smoky flavor in all of these whiskeys. It is not in the grain, it is on the grain. We then mill that grain so that we can turn it into a mash, which we can then use those fermentable sugars to ferment and create our beautiful whiskey. So that's how it gets there. And I'll talk more about that later, but I want us all to kind of sit on that as we're going through this. Thank you, Alex.
Oh, thank you, thank you. So per that point, A 5-year dram is going to have a little bit more smoke statement left on it than a 10-year that's been sitting in the barrel, releasing some of that slowly but surely, right? So that 5-year Wee Beastie, which has been aged, as you can see, in ex-bourbon and Oloroso sherry casks, is a pretty smoky dram, which is why I think it's really nice in that whiskey sour. Now, in terms of the aromas and tastes, I don't need to read anything up here, obviously.
Actually, no one look. I want you all to tell me what you smell.
That's what I'm saying, exactly.
So, Alex is a somm and far smarter than me, but I am a former distiller and a maturation, so I'm going to teach you how I taste spirits.
And pretty darn smart anyway.
I mean, sometimes.
Where?
I used to distill at Koval, and I learned at Wild Turkey and Maker's Mark. Yeah. So, take our glass.
Top left one, the Wee Beastie.
And Wee Beastie. You're going to keep your nose just about a finger's width away from the rim, and you can go in and out to find your perfect distance, but you don't want to go into the glass. This chimney is going to shoot a bunch of volatile molecules up at your nose. Some of them are going to be ethanol, some of them are going to be less than appealing if they're in concentration, so you want to stay away from it. You're going to part your lips, just let them hang, open your mouth like a happy idiot, and you're going to breathe in with your mouth and your nose. And as you're doing that, you're going to travel around the glass, top to bottom, side to side, back and forth. You're going to do two things: smell and articulate that smell to your head. And then I also want you to find your dominant nostril. It changes about every half hour, just through like allergies and walking around the world. All right, now we're going to taste it. We're going to taste it twice, because the first taste you're not going to taste as much. And you're going to take just enough spirit in to coat your tongue. I like to say you're going to tuck your tongue into bed. Sit with that. Let it sit on your palate for a little longer than you would normally sip something. Not super long time, just a little bit longer. Pass the spirit. If you feel a burn and it's unpleasant, breathe out with your mouth, and then take a second sip and repeat. On that second sip, I think you'll taste more, and I want to hear what you're tasting. So he brought up a great point. Ardbeg Wee Beastie is much smokier than our other expressions. That has everything to do with as things sit in the barrel, and that's through a combination of volatility, the action of molecules flying away from its original source, as well as oxidation, and what oxidation does to certain compounds. Very often it will mellow some, and very often it will enhance some. The molecule that is smoke, that we get that smoky flavor, that is going to diminish over time. And so as you get into bigger expressions of Ardbeg higher age statements, you're going to notice a lot more characteristics behind the smoke. What water does, you're putting water in your whiskey, and what water does is it gives a place for some of those molecules to latch on. So when you put water in a whiskey, we refer to it as opening it up. That's a good idea. It expresses what's happening. You get more flavor. What's actually happening is all those molecules that were flying out are now latching onto that water, and you're keeping it in the glass longer. That's why wine won't require a vessel quite like this. There's a lot more sugar and water in that glass, keeping everything in for a little longer. Of course, oxygen affects wine greatly. Well, yeah, because it latches onto the water. So that's what's happening when you add water. When I do any tasting, I don't like to taste. I like to taste at cask strength when I'm doing a barrel, and I like to taste at the proof that the distiller wanted for the product. If I'm trying to determine how I like it, and then I make a decision about ice or water or cocktail from there. But anyways, I've rattled on. Let's keep going.
And there was a fair amount of alcohol in that. Let's move on to the flagship of the house. Cool. Oops, sorry. We'll cross over. Okay. Yeah, all right, great.
Those are the pairings.
Yes, so again, Scotch doesn't have to be sitting on a patio having a cigar or not. You can have it with a cheese plate. You can have it with some barbecue ribs. Obviously, these are, fairly obvious, right, with bacon, that smoked sensibility. But hey, go for it. Speaking of, please feel free to enjoy too. We have some prosciutto. There's, let's see, this is manchego, sheep's milk, apple slices, obviously, and then a little salted caramel brookie on the right there. So enjoy as you would. There's no real rhyme or reason, just some munchies that will go well.
Both of them 40%? Or
No, the first one was 47.
47.2, and this is 46.2.
Oh, so both
Yep.
of them
That's
are
not
higher.
cask strength, right? That's just the
No.
There's no
Yep.
cask,
No, that's
right?
proof down.
And you're not going to get any, and that's you're not going to get any below 46 with any Ardbeg. Yep, 46.
I just tried a piece of the cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah, along with the saltiness. Yep.
Yeah, what a
Oh, it's brilliant. Oh,
much creamy.
Yep. And in fact, when we, Valentina, if you could scroll, if you don't mind. No, don't worry. With Camembert, even like a nice, again, overly creamy cheese, it's just brilliant. So as we said, 46 ABV, entirely ex-bourbon barrels. This in oysters is supremely good, of course. I didn't want to shuck any oysters here, but yeah, Camembert. I could do it. I had calluses, man. We go to Wellfleet, but
nothing.
no, you really,
Whiskey on an oyster.
yeah, you can't get
Do a
away.
shot of it in the oyster itself.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
God.
Just pour a little scotch in the oyster.
yeah. I mean, if you haven't,
And the
Yeah.
Ardbeg 10 is one of the best.
if you haven't tried that at a restaurant, I mean, it's usually an appetizer course, so usually you're drinking like a white wine or a martini or a champagne. If you can bring yourself to order an Ardbeg with that oyster, boy, you're really going to be in for a treat. Really going to be in for a treat.
There are a couple of whiskeys that do really well. The Ardbeg 10 is one of the best.
Yes, yes. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to the next, the Anno. So the Anno is mispronounced. It's not Oa. It's just Anno. It's named after the Mall of O, which is this peninsula that juts out kind of the south end of Isla. And this is unique, well, different than the 10-year in that it's finished in 3 different types of oak. There's a little, yes, so there is Pedro Jimenez sherry casks here. And Pedro Jimenez, yeah. So you have that beautiful dessert sherry, right? Lots of raisin. No, not a port finish. In fact, only one Ardbeg has had a port finish. He does have some here, the Spectacular. That was the committee release last year, which was exciting because, again, port finish for Ardbeg. What a thing. But this is,
The ride was crazy.
this is again, Pedro Jimenez, and then ex-bourbon barrels and new virgin oak. So new virgin oak is just like they would use as a bourbon treatment, right? So you have a lot of accessibility in the Anno. Someone who isn't a big single malt fan, again, as you're planning on what you're going to take home and which one, this is a great one because if you have someone that's not gravitating automatically toward Ardbeg or single malt in general, they like bourbon instead, American whiskeys, this has that kind of line going through it.
And the smoke seems to be much further down.
For me, I agree. I have that same
I
experience.
think it has to do with the new oak barrels, the new charred oak. When you have an X cask, you're getting less out of it. It's like a tea. It's often described as like a tea bag. But one thing that you do get from new oak is, other than all the things that cause flavor, which are great and big and robust and a lot more available in new oak, so that's where we get that here. But we also get the cellulose and hemicellulose. And cellulose adds color and texture. So texture is a big part of it. What makes things a little bit more accessible, and why I think Ardbeg as an Isla Scotch offers so much more complexity than, say, even like my friends at Lefroy, which are very salinic and smoky focused. Those fats are going to carry flavor and also hide or balance flavor. And so that new oak with all that cellulose and texture, all the oils that we get from the malting process are going to really make for a approachable single malt Scotch whiskey.
How do you enjoy this one?
Yeah.
Triple casking is brilliant in almost every execution.
I like it.
I didn't like doing it.
All right.
It's a lot of work.
Spoken pragmatically, right?
Well, I mean, so when I did my apprenticeship at Makers, I had to rotate barrels in the warehouse. It's a nightmare.
You're built for it.
I'm a big guy, but I'm a big fat guy. It's like it's not that helpful.
Can I ask you a question on everybody else's behalf?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is the first whiskey you've poured that the bottle doesn't have a number on it.
Yes.
Why not?
Correct.
Well, I have a philosophical reason that I would like to share, and that is age statements are not an indicator of quality, as proof is not an indicator of quality. I think the final product is the combination of so many more decisions that we make throughout the distillation and maturation process that it's more telling when you taste something. I've had, White Dog off the still at 160 proof that tasted absolutely incredible, and I've had White Dog off the still at 120 proof that made me want to rip my tongue out. It really depends. So I think the story of what the flavors that we're going for is far more important. I think with Dr. Bill's other projects at Glenmorangie, we have like the Signet collection. That's not about how long it was aged, and that was aged for quite some time in a lot of different kinds of barrels.
How many years do you know?
No.
Between 11 and 37.
Yeah, it's a ton of years, so I couldn't even tell you.
Average in the.
But none of that really matters because his final product is so good, and I think so that's part of it too. Is age statements became such a badge of honor in the industry, especially with the bourbon boom, that I go away from it. I want to tell the story through flavor, and that's what these other expressions we're doing. So we do have our age statements. We have our 19, our 14, our 17, our 25, but these other expressions I think are far more indicative of the ethos and pathos of Ardbeg than Wee Beastie is 5 years old. You know what I mean? So that's my answer.
I've had several master blenders, including Bill, explain that the age statement puts a straitjacket on him.
Yeah.
He can't use a cask that's younger than the age he wants to put on the bottle. But when he has an NAS, or when any blender has an NAS, they can marry a 7-year-old cask with an 18-year-old cask and get the benefits of the flavor that exist.
Another thing too, I want to just really quickly, and again, I'm just taking over, but the idea of a single malt, I think, is grossly misunderstood throughout consumers. And I'm not talking about all the wonderful faces I see right here. You are all smart, wonderful, curious people. But I do think that in the 80s and 90s, there was a marketing problem. And the understanding of what a single malt is was not fully understood. And it really did put a straitjacket on how we made it, because a single malt can only also come from one distillery. Whereas in Scotland, there is this handshake agreement where distilleries will exchange barrels so that blenders can achieve the right flavor. I personally think that blended Scotch whiskies are maybe a little more artful than some of our single malts, and I represent 2 wonderful single malts that I love, because the act of blending is so much more complicated and producing very interesting flavors. So that's another thing too.
That's where I feel the triple cask thing comes in.
Yeah.
Is it you have such a complexity of characteristics.
And when I said I don't like it, because I didn't like doing it, because I didn't like doing it. But you're right, it leads to some great results. So I think blending should be better celebrated in whiskey. And that's my rant. I'm done with my rant.
Rant is done.
John, I don't agree with him, but yes.
Well, there's a difference between a blend that has grain whiskey in it and blends that are all malt. And if you get a chance to explore the differences between the two, I would agree that you get some really interesting flavors when you get just blended malt.
Remind me of my Johnny Walker story.
Okay, good.
Cool.
So time is ticking away continuously, so forgive us, but let's not miss these last 2 delicious, delicious expressions. Ugadal is arguably the committee's favorite, right? Everybody loves the Oogie.
Mine too.
Yep, it's delicious. Cask strength, so we'll put a little pep in your step. I would maybe say have a little sip, smell a sip, and then put a little drop of water, see how that makes that difference. This is much like the Wee Beastie, ex-bourbon casks and ex-Oloroso sherry casks. And that's it.
What's the strength on that?
54?
Yeah, something like that.
Sorry, I want to make sure. Where's the darn bottle? We're looking for the Ugadal. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, don't worry.
You're not far off.
54.2. Yep, 54.2.
Evaporating as I hold it.
Exactly.
Into my nose.
Perfect. That's where it belongs.
So yep, and you can see the color difference in the glass, certainly on the screen too. The Oloroso sherry does impart that beautiful kind of almost red auburn, a little more amber. But this, please.
And do we know how long this is aged for? Or is that
So that's not really, I've heard 6-8 years, somewhere in there.
it doesn't matter. That's not the focus. It's
It really
not-
doesn't. It really
People
doesn't.
have a misconception. Oh, it's 18 years. It must be great. That's not the case.
Right,
I
right.
just had a whole rant about it.
Right.
It doesn't matter. But also with Scotch too, we could be blending a 55-year-old barrel in there.
Yep,
You know?
yep.
Who knows?
Yeah, I think Bill has said there's some teenage whiskey in the Yukon, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe it. I believe it. Yep.
Yeah.
Ooh, my. How's everyone like that though? Isn't that delicious?
Oh, he's magnificent.
I mean, that has so much going on, right? I have that iodine kind of Band-Aid, desirable Band-Aid, sea spray, but then I also have a lot of fruit and dryness.
This is like a dessert.
And finish is so.
And the finish is really well.
So, obviously, Ugadal, we could sit here and have a whole session on just Ugadal, but put that glass down.
From all the line. I thought that what we see now, that everyone is only talking about Yugadam.
Well, I
10.
would say that the bestseller is 10, but that's the flagship.
Yep.
That's what we make the most
No,
of.
I'm saying after the
Oh, I see.
Ugadal. I have more people ordering
it's the
Ugadal
one
and 10.
10, right? Yeah, like,
No, yeah, 10 is definitely the most, and then Ugadal's a second, I would say.
I think the one that
Yep.
everyone is talking about is always Yugadam. Whatever you see is
Yep. But whenever the committee release comes out, that's what people are talking about. So, yeah, grab your last glass. You are the first few in the country to try this.
I almost feel like I'm cheap.
I know it's so awesome, right?
That's why I came in.
I figured.
Oh
I
my
figured.
God.
So
I can't wait 2 more weeks.
this is our new committee release. It is utilizing a high gravity mash process. So we talked about mash a little bit, and I want to talk about it a little bit more because I followed into a mash tun and it's very gross. And also, it's an integral part of making whiskey because unlike making cognac or making wine or making rum or making tequila, we don't have a product that naturally has sugar. We're starting with a cereal grain. So all whiskey must be made from a cereal grain, which means a grass. And that cereal grain, like a wheat, an oat, a barley, a corn, has starch, not sugar. So we have to convert that starch into sugar. We talked about that fermentation, how you got to get the fermentation. We malt the grain to get the alpha amylase, and then we take all those grains that have been milled up into a powder, into a grit sometimes, and we'll add hot water, and we'll cook it, and we'll get the alpha amylase, converting all those starches into sugars, and that's ultimately what we will then ferment into a distillable alcohol.
Ferment and then distill.
Yes. So that's a big old overview. Probably could have done that with more grace, but I think we all got it. Now, a high gravity mash process. What does that really mean, and what does that look like? Well, I couldn't tell you what it looks like, but I can tell you that it is higher. And think of a pressure cooker. And what do we do when we pressure cook something? It's in a container, but it's also hot, and it's offering a pressure to bring things closer together, which is going to speed up extractive methods and speed up chemical processes and create some of the flavor esters that come along with those fermentable sugars that will ultimately be present in our distillate. Because distillation is the concentration of every flavor that exists in the product that you're distilling. From the water to the grain to the yeast, everything is going to be concentrated into the final product. So we get not just sugar, but we get fatty acid esters and fruity esters. And so those fruity esters are going to be really present in this whiskey, and that's what that high gravity mash process offers. Yeah, and so gravity being something that you might find in a black hole, that's where Smoky Verse came from. Ardbeg has always been tongue in cheek, and they wanted to celebrate this process.
Always.
Yeah.
In fact, my tongue is stuck.
The meat is very subdued, but I'm getting a note that I've never had in an Ardbeg before.
Can you identify it?
Pears.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever tasted
Butch pear, green pear, Bartlett pear, Boss pear.
D'Anjou.
Sorry, I do that a lot, and sometimes when I do that, when I'm
Not a
trying,
green pear. It's like
No,
a
you want to get the
Bosco
right, yeah.
well, I want to give you all of my vocabulary, so you can maybe like find it too. Yeah.
Bosque
So
is the, okay.
The brown.
The Bosque.
it's like a brown golden
Yeah, the
pear.
Bosque pear is what I'm tasting. I said Bartlett, I didn't mean the Bosque pear.
And
I can get that, like a little,
Yeah.
the perfume from the pear almost, right?
I've never
But
had that in an Ardbeg.
Very
The
interesting.
smoke is really subdued.
It's very refined.
is this cask strength?
This is 48.2.
Oh, so it's less.
Yep, a little
This is
less.
a committee release. We really, really need to toast Jackie.
There we go.
You guys can tell them why.
So committee release means that this gang of big fanatics.
Slancha. Oh, you need it.
Want to make sure.
Jackie
Yep.
is the committee chair, and after 25 years, is leading Ardbeg right after the festival this year.
I wasn't aware.
Oh my God.
Do you need a splash more? Okay.
She's the visitor center manager and the committee chair.
Yeah.
And last month, or a little more than that, she announced her departure.
Oh,
Oh my God, it's,
I never got to meet her on Grace side.
you should be.
Yeah, I'm very
Jackie's amazing.
yeah.
Amazing human being.
In all of these glasses, in all whiskeys, there's about 300 to 400 different flavor and aroma molecules coming together to create this flavor experience. And each one of those molecules was painstakingly placed by a number of men and women from the malting process all the way to the bottling line. And I think it's just really cool to think about that and all the things that we can find, and especially brings us together in conversation. So go forth, be curious drinkers.
Whiskey is a conversation.
Whiskey's a conversation. Thank you
Indeed.
for having
Thanks for
us
coming,
here.
guys. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex, for an awesome presentation.
Ian, you too. Thanks, buddy. Ardbeg did the hard work.